think would be nice for us to get a better understanding, because I think Marcio was there with me in one of our calls just 1 hour before, where we are doing requirement analysis. And Marcio, if you have noted down, they were also creating a similar kind of a document, but in a different template with a gathering part and all, right?
Right.
What Hari? So I think then we are on a right direction, that we can really share them out, that okay, this is what they have, and then we can use their template also, but this is what we also would be using for our own understanding. So if I give you the flow for your understanding, this is how it looks. First is the introduction, then the purpose of this document and the scope. Then it will talk about the CMP overview, where the CMP architecture views would be given, which is based on the reference architecture and technical architecture. And within CMP, what are the components and processes that we would be using? That is like right scale and puppet, all those stuff. This is what it talks about. Like if you say snow, we are talking about snow here. Under snow, we have certain cloud management components. For the snow, we will be talking on that. Then under right scale, we have these many components: right scale cloud management component, right scale account, multi-cloud image, right scale server template, and right scripts, cat files, and cloud apps. This is what we have. And then we have for Puppet. So for right scale, Marcio has created, but if you see Marcio for Snow and Puppet, I think we need to build a similar format what you have made for right scale.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
reason I have updated that thing. So, and I put down there as TBD. I'll come there and mark it as GLO. After once we know the CMP flow, what are the components of the CMP, then we need to really see what is our database service catalog, what we are talking about. So database service catalog will make you understand what are the services that we want to build upon. Then we are talking about our DBAS management and processes here. It will talk about what we want to give as database cloud management services, implementation and consulting services, database service tiers, service level management, incident change request. Then we have a database delivery feature artifacts, all those low level design documents we have to create for each of these services, whether it is HADR, monitoring, backup. These would be artifacts which we would be creating as a low level design. Then we need to understand the database architecture perspective as a next, which talks about the architecture principle, that what is that we are considering for our architecture. It starts from scaling, means elasticity scaling. It should have the tendency that we are having a multi-tenant environment, and we have I think that's it. Those things we are talking in principle for architecture. Then we will have a architecture view, which is a reference architecture, logical architecture, and a physical architecture. So reference architecture means that okay, a conceptual base, okay, from the process side, how you want to have it, and if you map logically the workflow of that components, it will become a logical architecture, and then how you want to achieve it, then it becomes a physical architecture with your technical component embedded. That's where we want to really work on. Then we are putting some DBAS architecture assumptions. Then we have a DBAS solution continuum, that okay, if we want to build this, what are my components as a solution that I am looking in, and you have seen that table. So it will give me a higher level understanding that okay, these are my building blocks which will help me to build my CMP farm, so that we have all these things in place. Technology continuum would be the next level of solutioning, that okay, what is that we would be looking from the technology platform, that okay, what would be my database binary state in that. Somehow it is a redundant to what we are talking in technology continuum, but then I thought okay, we can take a call between database technology continuum and hybrid cloud platform, whichever you guys think is better to understand. We can have one, and then we can remove that particular thing from that. Then we will have a Unisys VM cloud infrastructure, private. What is that? We need to have small, medium, large kind of a stuff, Azure infrastructure and Amazon, and then virtual network infrastructure. Last is your link towards all your DBAS cloud management integration templates, which is related to your right scale part, which we need to have. And then we are talking about your right scripts for Puppet, security groups, and all those things. which we need. I think, Marcia, here for this thing, we need to divide this thing again. Like if it is only about right scale, yes. So then we need to really look in for, similarly, we have to look in for Puppet also. I
Yeah.
think somewhere we are mentioning, yeah, okay, you have written already DBAS Puppet Master and DBAS classes manifest. So these things need to be detailed out. So this is how this flow looks, but we would 14 section number 14. I think, Marcia, we need to bucketize it more properly here with the exact flow. Let's say, for example, when you are talking about here right scale. Okay, let me go up. Is when we are talking here about the templates, integration templates. So we have to really put it in these things in a right flow. That okay, first what we need. Do we need right scale server templates or we need OS images here? Or something maybe we have to put it in a right order. All
Okay.
these things. If it is already in a right order, we are good with that thing.
Okay. I will review that.
Yeah. And then you can include likewise for your Puppet Master, what all we need to have, a detailed one. And last would be your issues and risk and mitigation. Whatever you guys see the issues and risk mitigation, you can put it out here, right? That way we will be good enough from the overall DBAS framework. Now, what does it shows? We can quickly review that thing. So this is your purpose, scope. In scope, we are only talking about that this will give us a architecture perspective, service catalog, manage service components, and my artifacts for solution integration and build, right? So, but I mark this as yellow. If we want to put it more elaboratively, what is that we are would be the deliverables from this document, we can highlight those things. So CMP overview, we will understand what the CMP gives, what does CMP means, cloud management platform, and what are its orchestration and what are its layer, how it gives the management for that thing. Then the architectural view, reference architecture, and then we have is technical architecture, okay, how it is mapped and with what components it is flowing. That is what it is talking about. And then it talks about the components of the CMP, which would be meaningful for us. So snow, we have included. So TBD, again, we need to elaborate certain things more here, the way we have done it next for right scale here. Right, Marcio, this TBD, that's the reason this yellow marked I have done.
Yes. Yes. We need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but I think you have done a good job while putting all this information. It was really helpful. Now, any person who comes, if we go through this document, he or she will get a good understanding what are the nomenclatures used in DFAS environment and how it is all integrated and how is the flow of this thing. Right? Likewise, for Puppet, we have to include certain things. And then we talk about our service catalog, that okay, what is my service catalog offerings, and these are my detailed parts, because these catalog item, if you see, would be published in our service catalog at snow level. So I think then we have to see, while we are building the farm of CMP for DBAS, these things are being shown in snow level at a service catalog, and at a Puppet level, we are having the right modules which are being called to do this work. And whichever you think is not possible, I think then when we do the functional assessment, then we have to really mark those as red and put it for our future release. But immediately we have to see what we can do. Because this particular table would be very important for us to understand. All right, so any questions till now, Abhishek, Feroz, Marcio?
No.
No, good. I'm good.
So do you think I mean, it's going rightly or anything? I mean, how do you see? Because you can act as a critics on this thing. Because if you want to understand the DBAS environment, so we have outlined this document with the understanding. Whosoever is a new person, or we need to rebuild this environment or reuse this service to another customer, or so, he or she will get a good understanding to start off.
Yes, Ankur. In fact, this can be used as a kind of artifact or a collateral. That's the word. Okay. Generally, yeah, it can accompany a presentation for a prospective client or any existing client for them to understand CMP and to adopt CMP into their
Yeah.
infrastructure. Yeah.
Okay, so here again, cloud managed services, a basic thing we have to write here, Marcio, about cloud managed services, and then implementation and consulting that, okay, how do we really transform their their on-premises to cloud services? I think in implementation and consulting, we can refer to that, and cloud management services, what we are doing. Not a detailed one, a small paragraph should be good enough in these two.
Okay.
And then I think service tiers is fine. Service level management, what we have, and this would be an artifact which we are calling as low level design, which we have to now build these things. So I think from next week onwards, we would be working on these things as a low level design that we created out. So once you all agree with this thing, then we have to really come out on this thing because we have one meeting with this CMP team over the requirement analysis. They are also gearing up and they are targeting that by April end, first release goes up. And right now, when I was just before this call, we were having a meeting with the architects and the management over Cuber. So they are also looking in that from next 1 or 2 months, we should have this build and design phase starting off. So I think we have only a month of this March and April that we can gear up and make pull our socks up to understand the granularities of this DBAS environment so that as we venture into our own CMP framework or for Cuber, the jobs would be easy for us. So focus on these things, whom you want to assign. So Firoz, just see that out of this 1 to 13, you just work with all the persons who all are engaged. One documents we can assign so that they look in for that particular solutioning.
Okay.
Yeah, right,
Mhm.
Firoz?
Yes, yes, Ankur.
Okay, yeah. And these are the architecture perspective that, okay, what are my architecture principles, standardization we need to have because that's what in the DBAS, if you have somewhere, because these architecture principles will help you to really clear your doubts whenever you are in a situation of a conflict. Because first is a standardization, okay? We need to build our environment based on the standards of the technology and the assets. So nowhere we will bring in an homegrown application where it is saying that we would be on a lower, let's say one of our standard is that we want to have all the databases of Oracle 12c, nothing lower than that thing. SQL 2014 and above, nothing lower on that thing. So if anything is lower on that thing, we will not bring into CMP farm, but from Unisys perspective, we will support that thing outside the CMP farm. So those things would be the basic principle. Then service value that, okay, how we are measuring those services, it would be more from the reporting and costing perspective. Service definitions that, okay, what are the capabilities that the services that we are offering and the customer understands. And architecture is something that we are improving day by day. And service capabilities is something that it includes all these things. As a consumer-based provisioning, automated DB monitoring, service elasticity, multi-tenancy, and all those stuff. Then architecture review is something that will help you from the reference architecture that, okay, what are my service capabilities which will bring in the security, reliability, availability, and manageability for my DBAS, and what are the components engaged into that thing. So this gives a good picture how it is really framed up. Only one input I have, Marcio, here is that we need to bucketize this thing into more, let's say, this public cloud which we are saying, DBAS container and all. So we need to name this thing, okay, which service we are talking about here. So if I give you an example, so this left hand side, when we are talking about this, I think it will talk, or how do I say? end user portal ORM. So this would be my service. Okay, just a minute. What I am. Okay, I'll give you an offline update for this thing. What I have in mind. Let
Mm-hmm.
me also collect it out. The diagram is good. It's just that we have to name these buckets as per my flow, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's it only. Let's say this blue color public cloud, we have to name this thing. Puppet, right scale and service now, we have to name this thing. Like let's say this is my orchestration, but service now and all those things which you are talking about is my provisioning part. But I'll come out with those names and let you know offline this thing.
Okay, I agree it's missing. Right.
Yeah. Now this is a logical architecture that okay how the logical architecture will work based on the above part. Maybe this is my logical architecture, but again we will come out with those things. It gives a functional workflow how my request will go from my service now and how it will go to right scale and then Puppet. So this talks about that particular feature and this is a flow diagram it shows. Now this is your technology architecture that okay how you are building your technology part here. So it gives about my platinum gold and how we want to build this farm with the HA and DR component here listed it out. But it is not giving that but this diagram now Abhishek you need to look in for this diagram based on your factor that you are saying how I want to configure my HA. Is it really looking in for that particular thing? Because I think here we have built that thing. So Marcio, can you help to give that, because this diagram is not clear, if you give that presentation PPT, we can just have a review and look in from a solutioning that we are offering. Let's say for Platinum Oracle, if you want to give HA, so what is that we want to give? This blue color diagrams that you have made, right? So is it giving that fast failover kind of a concept or what it is? We have to build those things in that format.
Yeah, I'm afraid that that those pictures could not be used. I got this from Gustavo, and I don't know. I guess that was created a long time ago in a in some proposal to some client.
Right.
I guess Gustavo created these images or Kleber. I don't remember using Visio. So I think we may need to recreate that using another tool to have that in our proper format, which Abi is doing.
Right. Maybe you can ask Gustavo for that help because this thing we need to really because then only the relevance of the technical architecture would come out that okay what is that we are trying to use here.
Right, right. I'll check it
If we
in.
can help, yeah. And it should talk about the technical architecture that okay what machines we are using based on our solution continuum, right? That way it would be helpful then.
Okay.
Okay. And these are my assumptions. So I think you can put it based on this thing, what all assumptions you have in your mind. So I think, but assumption should go down below, not here. It should come. Should come here where we are talking about my issues and all. Okay. Right. So this technology architecture, you can just refer back and then is your solution continuum. I think this will give a good picture that, okay, what we want to build and what are the technology standards we would be using in, right? So farm in our CMP framework, what is that we need? So this will become a good requirement document for us. And then we have your technology continuum. It has to detailed out. And then your cloud management platform, what is my binary state, and then my VM, small, medium, large, Azure, and Amazon. Likewise, I think all these things, I'll share out this document with you. All these right scale images, linkages to all the templates has been created. So this way you can use it out. And last but not the least is about your own issues and risk mitigation part. So this document has to be a living document. So don't assume that okay, it is only me, you or Mashu, anyone creating. Everyone has got an equal opportunity. Whatever you see needs to be embedded, needs to be updated. Just update it out, change the version history, change the version table, and then float it out with us. So I think that would be something good. Let's say, for example, Abhishek, you are creating your own HA feature, right? Document. So if you think there are certain assumptions or risks associated with that thing, feel free to add here in the risk part and in the assumption column.
Okay, Uncle. Yes, sure.
Right? In that way, it would be good that okay, what we are doing. Okay, so I think we are overrunning and have to catch up in other meetings also. So I'll share this document and then just see how you can make this more contentful. And by next week or so, we should complete this out at least 80 to 90%. And then we will share it out with the CMP team. Let's see how they can use it out, this thing. Right? Okay, so Marcio, I'll share this document. So use this one, and then you can just work upon. And then by Monday, if you are able to share, then I think on next Thursday or Friday we'll have a meeting with Harry, and we will share it out and present it to them. Right?
Right, Ankur.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Uncle, just a quick update since I will not be available in the next week. Just to give you a quick overview on what we have planned to work on. So we'll continue with the database documentation or the standard documentation of the standards with respect to the installation security and the user management standards. So that is something that Ayaz and Feroz are working upon. So I believe that the next week they'll be spending time on that. Meanwhile, I have a few things for Bala to test, especially with respect to this HA. I will want him to do some tests and let me know what are the if there were any caveats that he identified when doing an automated setup, if he identified any problems or catch points. So he will let me know about that. So that's what we planned for this week when I'm not there. Apart from that, I will also be sending out a few things to mARCIO. It's already been pending for some time now. So today, before I finish for the day, I will send it out to you, mARCIO, so that you can actually invoke you can test the grid infrastructure install and ASM configuration from Puppet. So that's one thing that I will send across. So I think at least from the database perspective, we are kind of our hands are full for the next week is what I would say. Of course, if there's anything urgent that can be accommodated, but yeah. So this is what we planned for the next week.
So that's a good update, Abhishek. But what I would suggest is these 3, 4, and 6. Let me put it in this way: 3, 4, and 5 are the ones which I would say would be in the priority list to create the design, because I believe like standards for the DP deployment in the hybrid cloud environment, and or I would say standard for DB deployment, and next would be my database automated orchestration. So standard has to be there, and then the design for database backups and how do we automate this orchestration. These 3 documents with a low level design would be the priority. Rest all we can really take a future part as we move forward.
Yes, in fact,
would be on the same path.
3 and 5. I don't know how 3 is different from 4. If you could.
3 and 4
okay,
is the 3
you're
would
talking
be
about.
what? Yeah, 3 is the standards. How I want to make my standard, where in your flexible architecture would be there of your file system and all. Remember, you have created already that thing in the earlier document. 4th is something I think what mARCIO has done is that okay, how I want to automate this orchestration in my hybrid environment while calling all your right scale and Puppet path
Okay.
for the
Okay.
degree, and you have to really come out with the intelligence out here in the terms that okay, if my current VM is having a low utilization, so can I accommodate a new DB in that thing, or I need to have a new VM created for
Good.
that
As
thing.
we discussed, so that is something that we are not focusing on right now, because we want to get the basics right. So yeah,
No, no,
we
that's
were
fine.
focusing.
Understand, but
Yeah.
put the content in that side, write TBD there, so that in the future path we can do. That's what we were discussing with the CMP team also. They are also not sure. We are also not sure, but the requirement is there, right? So then
Okay.
after that, since it is there in our list, put it as TBD, and as the time permits, we will prioritize it and get the right persons who can really help that thing in that.
Okay. So I think 4 will be probably delayed by 2 weeks
No
to
problem.
give you
Take the
honest.
time,
Yeah.
but these should be in the priority list.
Yeah. So right now, Feroz is working on 3 and 5. So that is something I know for
Yeah,
sure.
but 4 is
Yeah.
something that we need, but may not be at a very rigorous level that okay, we add that intelligence, but at a basic level it should be.
Right. Okay. Got that, Ankur.
What's
Yes.
the point? Yeah, but write TBD whenever you are adding that complexity.
Yes. And point number 6, Ayaz is working on that. So we have a clear path on what to include in the documentation. So
No
once we
problem.
have this in the following week, that's when I'm there after the 25th. I think we can run through that.
Fine, fine, sure. Okay, guys, I'll just share you this document, and again, I'm reiterating, keep this document updated, whatever you see which makes sense for you. Because while you are creating these detailed documents, I'm sure you have to revisit this document without understanding the architecture of CMP. You cannot do all those things. You need to understand the integrities and the linkages of each component that we are trying to build in this part, right? Okay, guys,
Yes,
and
Ankur.
thanks a lot.
Right.
We will meet on Monday, and then we'll take it forward.
Okay.
Yeah, Ankur, could you share this document now?
Yes, sir. I'm just giving you next 5 minutes. You should have in your
Okay.
mailbox.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And then on Monday we will discuss it out in detail, because Monday I think Marcio would be able to work on this thing. And Monday, Marcio, or whatever you are able to update in this document, we will review it on Monday call one more time.
Sure.
Then you can present it out.
Sure, Uncle.
Right, Marcio?
Yeah.
Marcio, I
Or
think he's
still it
off. He's
is off?
offline.
Okay, then he might not be
Uh,
there in the.
can you hear me, guys? Hello? Hey, hello?
I think he might be listening, but
Possibly, I think he generally has a bit of problems with his link actually.
right,
So
right.
yeah.
Okay, no problem. If Marcia, you are listening, just be prepared with this document on Monday, and then we will have a review one more time with you. Okay, guys, thanks a lot, and I'll share this document right now in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcio.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Ankur.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Feroz.
Bye.
Yeah.